everybody. Welcome to TraderMerlin Show. It is your Tuesday afternoon. Is this really Tuesday? It feels like I feel like it's Friday already. But yeah, Taco Tuesday it is. Hope you had a good day out there in the markets. Those of you who are holding cryptocurrencies, we love the rollout of this new Bitcoin ETF, BITO. I will show you BITO here. This is actually Bitcoin's price, which is just knocking on the doors of an all-time high. The all-time high, I believe, was 64,895, and we hit today an intraday high of 64,367. So we're $500 off the all-time high in Bitcoin. Who knows? We might get there by the end of the show. That said, hello, Mimi and Mikias. Tom, good to have you with us. Katut, Chris, Mario, Jerry Pepper. We got Eric, Big Ab, Skilled Stocksman, Jim, Taylor, or Kenny Taylor, and Les starting things off. So good to have everybody with us today. Let's roll into our topic du jour. I'm obviously going to run through the overall markets. We're going to look at some of the housing data today, which I thought was interesting. We might even go and review the DRI trade we were talking about yesterday. And then we'll, of course, talk about this stuff here, which is following financial experts. I'm not sure why I have this screen all angled all weird like this. So let me just fix this now, because it's been bugging me for a few days now. Probably bugged a few of you, but let's just get that back to looking somewhat normal. How about that? A little bit better. Following financial experts, and this comes on the heels of a viewer question, and actually sent me an article from Yahoo Finance, which is of interest. So let me start things off with our earnings calendar, our economic calendar, and we will dive in from there, of course, as we progress through today's show. Feel free to join us live, as Gary Pattison just joined us. Feel free to ask questions in there, and if you're watching archives of this, hit the subscribe button so you know when we go live. You can also send in questions down below the YouTube video or send them to TraderMerlin@gmail.com. All right, so here is where I want to start things off with, just to show you some of the things that happened today. Though you keep hearing this phrase, the markets are climbing this wall of worry. Well, they are. Markets just keep on accelerating the upside. It's unbelievable. Not the update. There we go. Here's your economic data for today. And the numbers I'm most interested in with are at the very top. You guys might remember yesterday I was mentioning how I thought the housing bubble or housing issue might be a problem going forward. So as you guys can see here, let me grab my handy dandy drawing tool if that still works. These two, nope, didn't work. This is why I need TJ back. TJ, help me. You look at these two numbers up here at the very top, and you can see three numbers. This first one, which I'm putting a square on now, was what the previous numbers were. So you can see on building permits, they had 1.72 million in their previous month, and they had in housing starts 1.58 million. In the middle there, where it's 1.67 and 1.61, that's the expectation. So you can see clearly they were expecting it to decline in building permits and actually expecting it to rise in housing starts, right? Which to me is good for the long-term picture. Building permits, I'm not so concerned with. It's really housing starts, because these guys like Toll Brothers, Lennar, they've got some serious analysts and market technicians that are looking at the future of real estate. So expectations were that that was going to move to the upside, which obviously would be pretty positive. Good. In reality, not only did we miss on the housing starts, but we missed significantly on building permits. So, we talk about, markets showing weakness at certain moments in time. Right now, it looks like we're starting to see a little bit of a negative impact here with regards to housing. Now, granted, this is 1 month. It's not like it's the end of the world, but I will be following it, because to me, this is the big shoe to drop. If housing market slows down or starts to falter at all, then what you'll see is people stop spending, and of course that hits the economy, and then all of a sudden we start to see a much bigger, deeper fall in the equity market. So just something to keep an eye on. That was the main piece for me today. I was watching that one, and of course, if we look at what happened in our markets, lo and behold, how did we deal with that? We don't even care. We just shrugged that one off very quickly. I will start from the bottom and work our way to the top. Gold up 0.22%. There's your GC. Nothing noteworthy there. I guess the only thing for me that's interesting is that it was up much more during the day, but gave it all back. And it's still in that kind of descending triangle I talked about, just kind of floundering, if you will. Now, let's go to the Russell 2000, which is up 0.4%. Again, who cares, right? It's just been going sideways, blah, 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 blah. Song remains the same. Now we start to get to some better ones. Dow Jones Industrial Average came right in that overhead supply we talked about on yesterday's show. Is it really that significant? I guess it depends on your perspective. If you're looking at this area of consolidation right here, we're dead smack in it, right? But there is a bump a little bit further back here, which if we were to take this piece up and just look at it from that perspective, now we're coming right back up to that one as well. So, certainly potential short opportunities, but again, you're going against the trend, and obviously with the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, it's really strong right now, so try not to stand in the way of that one. NASDAQ up 0.81%, again, ripped right through that area of supply that I thought we'd actually see a little bit of a stall today. I was looking for bearish trades, didn't get any, so no big deal. I'll wait for the next session. But, Jerry says, looks like it's about to break out to the upside. I agree. That Dow looks like it's poised to break to the upside. Now, it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe it dip a little bit and do a cup and handle formation and then rip up. But, give me reasons why this thing's going to sell off. Yes, it sounds like the sky is falling on so many fronts, but hey, when the sky is falling, but you've got the Fed and government's just propping it up at every turn. So, it's not going to fall until it does. And when it does, I think what we'll see is, I don't think that you're going to see a slow decline in prices. I think what you're going to get is an absolute monster sell-off, really sharp, really aggressive, that just shocks the system. I don't think it's going to be one of those ones where it slowly rolls over and people are like, oh, I'll get out or I'll go short. It feels to me like the only way to fix this problem of continuous spending and support is to have a shock to the system. And that black swan, I believe, will be coming here at some point in the future. Who knows when? I've been wrong several times over the past few years. So let's go back to our charts here and work our way up. So we were on the Dow. Here's your NASDAQ. You have basically 6 days in a row of just epic move, continuing it, no weakness there at all. S&P 500 looking similar, although it's closer to those all-time highs. We could draw a little yellow box here since that seems to be the topic du jour, and we are right in it right now. It's funny because I was actually looking at selling some puts today, but there's just nothing that I wanted to sell puts on, so I'm just waiting till maybe we get a nice shock to the system and I can get some good premium here. But right into all-time highs. We'll probably stall on that tomorrow and then either reverse or have a big breakout to the upside. It just the way that it's moved over the past 6 sessions, guys, for the NASDAQ and for the S&P, it feels like it just needs to take a small breather before it continues on up. Normal power of market moves. All right. Tom, and you nail it, Tom, 100%. Tom says, the Fed propping up the economy is like a house of cards propping up another house of cards. Right, and basically what someone's doing is holding a piece of cardboard in front of that house of cards, and there's like an industrial fan right behind that cardboard. So as soon as that thing's lifted, it's all gone. I mean, it's going to be gone in a very, very short order. So, I'm being exceptionally careful with my long positions. Of course, every time I seem to take a short, I get smoked on them. But we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. I think it's going to be a good tail end of the year. So we've got the S&P. Let's go to crude oil, which has been absolutely stellar. I thought we'd see more of a pullback today, right? We had a small little pullback yesterday, just a hesitation, but it looked like a shooting star yesterday. You guys can see that pattern right there. And then today, we just continued to move to the upside. So, again, crude oil still moving up. Now you're starting to hear more talks about OPEC and Russia with supply issues and talking about supply cuts. Right now, not really impacting crude oil too much. And then the big story, which I think will break all-time highs by the end of the show today. The end of the show. That means we have to rally up another $300 on Bitcoin in the next, how much time we got left? I'm not even looking at the clock here. In the next 40 minutes or so. So I think we'll probably get there. It just seems to be that strong today. Bitcoin is the big mover. And if you look at the other crypto spaces, it's not that great. There were some decent numbers like you had Luna, you had Ethereum. But most everything else is not doing great. Algorand, Matic, Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano, Civic, Dot, Polkadot, Internet Computer, Link, they're all down today, even though you have big moves up in Bitcoin. Now, that is because of Bito. There's your Bitcoin strategy ETF. Now, I mentioned I was going to talk to you guys about or find out how it's calculated. I did not have time to do that. I've been just run ragged. Oh, thank you. This whole time, I have not been showing my screen. I'm sorry, David, Big Ab, and Margaret. Gosh, I got to go back to that. Let's go back. There's the Bitcoin piece I was talking about, and I was showing daily. See what happens when I just fall into my zone and get going. But that's where we're at with Bitcoin, running at all-time high. Thank you guys for the no chart piece. I got it fixed now. The reason you're seeing, I think, this really big up move here is because of Bito, B-I-T-O. This is obviously the rollout of the new Bitcoin ETF, which is futures-backed. Yes, Margaret, I know. I fixed it. I've got multiple screens here, and I was just fell into my rabbit hole of talking about the chart on hand. I'm not exactly sure the math behind it. I'll let you guys know probably tomorrow. I just need to dig into it. But you can see how weird it is, right? BITO is supposed to be a Bitcoin ETF it's basically futures inside of this Bitcoin ETF. But Bitcoin right now is trading at 64,500 and BITO is trading at $41.87. So there's clearly some calculation in here that's slightly different, and I'll figure out what that one is. But I'm not long. I love chicken nuggets. I used to love chicken nuggets, and then McDonald's took away the hot mustard sauce, and I refused to eat there. Then they brought it back. So, yes, I'm a chicken nugget fan as well. I am not long natural gas. Nope. I have no NG. I have no UNG. I have no stake in natural gas whatsoever. But since you brought the topic up, check it out. Natural gas, we talked about it. Let's go to the daily. We've been talking about this one quite a bit, especially with John Rowland. It looked like when John was on, he thought it would have a little bit of a pause and then continue to move up. So, we look at these supply and demand zones forming on natural gas right now. We're coming into one right around 480. We have a hammer today, but I still think you might get a little bit lower. And if you're thinking that it's going to be a cold winter, then it might be a nice buy point for natural gas futures or UNG like that. So thanks, Chicken Nuggets, for bringing that one up. Appreciate that. Jerry says, Bitcoin breaks the all-time high. It could rocket up. Ethereum lag a little too. Yeah, I think that what you'll see, if we do get Bitcoin breaking to the upside, which obviously I believe we will see it break to the upside, then it'll probably start to bring more money into some of these other cryptos. But remember, when Bitcoin's run, there's kind of this cyclical piece where when Bitcoin runs, the alts falter. And then when Bitcoin falters, the alts run. And basically an alt, for those who don't know, is anything other than Bitcoin. So, right now it seems like the money's just pouring into Bitcoin, the optimism with Bitcoin, not just with the futures markets, but the regulatory easing, if you will, by allowing a Bitcoin ETF. And then you have, country adoption. So there's really a lot of positive aspects to the whole crypto space right now, and Bitcoin in particular. And that's why you're seeing that nice move. So good. It's good. I'm glad. A friend of mine was all nervous. He was like, are you sure Bitcoin's going to do real good? Because I just put a bunch of money, and I'm like, if you're holding it for long haul, I think you're going to do great. And he's had a pretty nice run up here in his Bitcoin. All right, so that runs us through kind of our top overall markets here for to start the show, which means I now get to go into a couple other pieces. Let's go into our earnings calendar for today. And just wanted you to note that almost everybody on this screen, actually everybody on this screen, beat earnings. So you had earnings beats by Netflix, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Intuitive Surgical, Ericsson, Philip Morris, United Airlines, Synchrony Financial, and Halliburton all beat earnings today, some by very good margins. You can see United Airlines was beat by 38%, Netflix beat by 24%, and I believe yesterday I said Netflix is probably going to have a huge amount of volatility. I call that the popcorn trade of the day. And of course, if we take a peek at Netflix, let me bring that one up for you guys here. I think I'll go to that one. Boom, there's your popcorn trade of the day. And let me bring up Netflix. Boom, there's your Netflix. So I was slightly wrong. I said 10%. Well, if we go from the bottom to the top here, I think I was off. My apology. It was only 6.5% move in Netflix today. Gosh, on the earnings announcement. Now, of course, we could add it up, and I was probably right because, remember, it was here. It sold all the way down to these lows, ripped all the way to these highs, and now it's pretty much unchanged on the day. Even though it had a great earnings surprise by 24% beat on earnings, right now trading at $638, and its official closing price for today was $639. So it's down ever so slightly in the after-hour session, but had a nice volatile swing. And by the way, this big jump here, that was 5 minutes. If I go to a 1, you will see a lot of volatility as well. So really 2 minutes, it moved that 6.5% range. All right. Are they beating earnings due to inflation? Personally, I don't believe it's due to inflation. I believe what it is it's the classic thing financial markets do. Remember, the expectation is a specific number, and if a company beats that number, usually the mass population's going, yay, we beat earnings, yay, we're doing so good, we beat earnings. If you beat something, it sounds like you accomplished something, right? But what if the expectation of earnings was so low that it just didn't even really make sense? So what's been happening is earnings expectations have been lowered because of all of COVID. right? So you drop the earnings forecast, therefore you beat it, and it looks like you're doing great, and then all of a sudden your stock rallies because the retail investor is thinking, wow, you guys are doing great, you're beating earnings. Whereas if you look at it, a lot of times they just lower the bar. And when COVID came along, that was an easy opportunity for most financial firms, or most firms actually, to just say, we're going to lower our forecast. And I think we would all fall for that. We would all believe that it's real because, come on, it's COVID. Companies are shut down. People are laid off. I mean, you got to lower your earnings forecast. So now you have your earnings forecast so low that, it makes it seem much more significant when you beat those earnings announcements. So, for example, if we take a look at United Airlines was estimated to lose $1.65 per share. Well, they're flying around the country right now. They're back to business. And then all of a sudden you see, oh, well, they only lost $1.02. They're killing it. Well, they're still losing money. They're still losing $1.02 per share, right? So the surprise number here, this one that you see over on the right-hand side of your screen, the 38%, this guy right. Oh, why does that keep doing that? Son of a biscuit. I'm trying not to swear anymore, so son of a biscuit is what you guys get. 38% beat on earnings. Like, wow, they're doing awesome. Well, no, they're really not, because they're right here losing $1.02, right? So anyway, just wanted to show you some of that stuff. Thanks for the question there. But yeah, Netflix is the exciting one with earnings after hours today. Now, the original topic for today's show was this one here, which was following financial experts. And for me personally, I don't really follow anybody. I don't really watch a lot of. I don't watch CNBC. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch Bloomberg. I don't watch any of that crap because honestly, I believe that it is a rigged game and there is a massive ulterior motive for them pumping out information to you. Now, as you look over on my well, you can't see it, but my 10 laws over here, I think it's number 2 or 3, says ignore the news but listen to every word of it. And the reason I say that is you want to know what's being said, but you also want to dig down and find the truth behind that specific press release, that announcement, that upgrade, that downgrade, that earnings announcement, whatever it may be. So I had a good question came in from, I think it was Morris, and it's a great one. Morris says, when you see headlines such as these, how do you trade them? What should a new trader like me know? And he posted this link to this article. So I thought I would share this one with you. Give me 2 seconds as I bring this up here. And I think it's right there. Yes. Okay, so we'll bring this one up. And here's the article. This was in Yahoo Finance today. It says, Morgan Stanley, buy these 2 stocks before they jump 80% or more. Wow. Really? 80% or more. I mean, if you guys didn't know much about trading and investing and you saw this headline, and basically you're scrolling through Yahoo headlines, right? Because if I were to go back, I don't want to go back because I might lose it, but if I go back, you're going to be scrolling through Dow's up X amount of points or this or that, the other thing, and all of a sudden you get this headline. You're inclined to, this is clickbait. This is absolute clickbait because we all want to be in something that jumps 80% or more. I love how they add the or more. Surprised they didn't add an exclamation point for effect. But I'm not going to read through it all. I didn't even look at the both companies because I just haven't had time. And I apologize, Morris. But I want everybody to just think. I mean, look at the headline right now. So what do you guys think? I wish you had microphones, but I'll have to do a delayed response here. But Morgan Stanley, buy these 2 stocks before they jump 80%. If you would, do me a favor and type into chat here, like, what do you think the purpose of this is? There's a goal here. There is an ulterior motive, in my opinion, with the publishing of this article. And you can probably guess what it is simply by looking at the headline. And this is why I wanted to title the show, Trading with Financial Experts or Following Financial Experts, because this is, to me, this is almost something that should be banned and outlawed and gone after by the SEC. Regulators, in my opinion, should be going after this stuff all the time. Yeah, it's pandering. All my stocks jump 80%? Wow, Margaret, I'm going to follow your show. Let's get you on. So the main thing that's going to happen here with this headline, if you see this headline, I'll bring it back. It's written by Morgan Stanley. So you know that Morgan Stanley is basically telling you to do something. Morgan Stanley has a position. Morgan Stanley has an interest in these 2 stocks. If they were going to write an article that said buy these 2 stocks before they jumped 80% and they didn't own any of it, some of that company is getting fired, right? So clearly they are now long. They are in this one. They need the CliK for advertising dollars. Well, that's one less, but they want you to buy. They are looking for people to buy this. So why do you think Morgan Stanley is dying for you guys to buy these two stocks. There's a reason, and of course you're going to have to dig here. They like to help people, Tom. That's right. They're an altruistic organization. By the way, if they really want to help people, they'd be a nonprofit. And last time I checked, Morgan Stanley was all about profit. And hey, no offense to them. They're doing what's allowed within the confines of the law and according to security regulations. So apparently this is not illegal. This is okay for them to do. But if we dig deeper into it, and I'll show you a couple here. So the first two, I didn't do any research on Joby, but Joby Aviation. And again, please do not go out there and buy these stocks. Do not go out there and buy these stocks. I'm going to say it one more time. Do not go out there and buy these stocks without doing your due diligence. Could these stocks jump 80%? Absolutely. I'll say 100% they could jump 80%. By the way, 50% of statistics is manufactured. So forget Joby for a second. I want to go to the second one here because I thought this one was interesting. And I did a little digging here. So you look at Prelude Therapeutics, right? PRLD. Now, I don't know much about them. Actually, I don't know anything about them. I've never even heard the name. But I said, let me just do a little bit of due diligence. And if you look at the charts here, let me pull this down and go to the other browser I have. If you look at the charts of PRLD, this thing has been butchered. I mean, this thing is just taking a dump. And, this sounds like something that Chowsky, I'm just messing with you, Chowsky, because he's here. This sounds like something Chowsky would bring up, which, it's been drifting down. He's like, hey, what do you think? Well, look, could this one jump 80%? And even if it jumped 80% from where we are right now, I'm going to do 100%. 100% gain would be $36. Okay? That's right about here. So 80% is probably going to bring us to what, 34, 35? My math skills aren't that great right now, but let's just say that that's 80%. And I'll just to help out the example, I'll draw the trend line and I'll bring it right up to 80%. It should be somewhere. That's 90%. That's, all right, there's 80. So 80% would bring the share price of PRLD, Prelude Therapeutics, up to about $32.50, right? Everybody see that? Y'all with me? So, and interesting, why would you think that this is the target, right? Of course, they're going to a lot of fundamentals and telling you how great their analysis is and blah, 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 blah. Now, what's interesting is, for me anyway, this article came out today, and look what happened. Article came out today, the thing jumps 14.5%. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? This was somebody knowing what's going on. This was somebody knowing that this article on PRLD was going to hit the Yahoo Wire today, talking about how you should buy it. Of course, we could, if we wanted to, go back and maybe look and see if there was some volume that came in at the end of yesterday's session, which there was some volume, but nothing noteworthy. Yeah, even passes the... Look at all these gaps. I mean, this is an ugly-looking chart. So, PRLD. I pulled up some... There's a site you can use called Fintel, and it will kind of show you the makeup, the landscape of transactions out there. So... I'm going to scroll down here. Actually, I'm just going to type in Morgan, which I did already. Morgan's at the top. And we'll go. So Morgan Stanley. It's in the EQ Advisors Trust. It's a small cap growth portfolio. They own 2,300 shares of PRLD, which is nothing, right? And then right here, Morgan Stanley, they have 132,000 shares. But notice this little number right here. That's their average price. It's $35.99. Oh, one sec. I'm trying to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. Bear with me. $35.99 is their average price. Well, that's interesting because it's currently when they issued this press release on PRLD, it was at $15. So what happened here, and Morris, this is why it's so important that you never ever jump on those headlines, because this was a scam. This is Morgan Stanley saying, "Hey, we're screwed. We're down big. I need somebody to do a positive report on PRLD, Prelude Therapeutics. Get what was the guy's name? I think it was. I'm gonna give him some celebrity time here because it's the analyst's name. That's Christian Lewig. I think it was Chan. Where was it? Jeffrey Hung. Right. So Jeffrey Hung is basically saying, "Oh yeah." Given all kinds of reasons why it should run up, and here's all the fundamentals, and you guys should buy into it. And if you look deeper, you're going, okay, well, your average price is $35.99. Even if it jumped 80%, you guys are still losers because your average price was 35.99. Now I'll dig even deeper because that was just one line item. Now I'll go to the next one, and you can see that there's another 6,889 shares at 35.98. So MS Trader is no longer employed there. Well, you know, they might be gone. Who knows? The point here is this was obviously a headline designed to help a position that somebody's getting burned on. And one of the things that I used to love to do, it's actually a chapter in my book, was a little piece about this, is when I got started, I had this belief that Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, all these Goldman Sachs, you know, all the elites, those are the ones that you have to watch, right? They're the ones that you got to keep your eye on because they're the ones that are going to make me money. No, that's wrong. The issue is they are making themselves money and using us to drive markets in a specific direction. It's almost like they're the Pied Piper and we're just the rats or the lemmings jumping off the cliff, and they're going jump off the cliff, and then they run down with the net and they grab all the money. So you can't follow this advice, Morris. Do your due diligence. And I'm not saying that PRLD is not good. I mean, I don't know. But technically, I wouldn't want to buy this thing. It looks like it did nothing for about 6 months, and then all of a sudden it fell apart on it. It looks like an earnings call probably, and looks horrible. And, you know, does it rally? Potentially. And what about Joby? This is the aviation one that was in there as well. You know, look at that thing. And it's easy to look at a chart like this, and both of these are down significantly, right? I didn't look to see where they are in Joby. Let me see if they own Joby. Just to give an idea. Okay, and then we'll go through here. Joby Aviation. Oh, where's that page? I want to have the same page. Search query. I thought I had it up there. One sec. I'm just trying to see if I can get the same info for Joby. Institutional ownership. Okay, so maybe I can go to the top of this page and find it. Oh, I got to do a little bit of upgrading to get to that one. But let me see if I can do one, because I bet you we will see Morgan Stanley owning Joby Aviation as well. Joby institutional ownership. Okay. So let's scroll down here. I'm going to do a Control F, and this will get us Morgan again. There's 3 showings of Morgan Stanley. All right, so Morgan Stanley in their CliK Exo SPAC ETF, they have 16,843 shares of Joby. Number 2 is right here. They have 16,235 at $10.56. So $10.56 is their price, which means that somebody at Morgan Stanley is losing money, because that's this horizontal line right here, right? So they're underwater by $1.50, and it's not like it's that many shares. I'll be honest. It's not like this is killer money involved, but it is 16,000 shares, so they're down 16 grand. And then you move the next one, and they actually were selling. So in August, they sold some position in Joby. So anyway, my bottom line, my point here is that most of this stuff is, it's a card game. It's a magician act. And if anybody here loves magic, there is a guy out there who I would highly encourage. You want to have some fun, just go to YouTube and type in Shin Lim. I think SHIN space LIM. He has to be the most amazing sleight of hand magician I've ever seen. I cannot figure out how he does things, and I love figuring out puzzles. He is a master of sleight of hand. That said, if you think about what these financial institutions are doing, it's simply that. It's sleight of hand. It's saying, hey, look here. I'm telling you to look here, but behind the scenes, they're picking your pocket or doing something else that they don't want you to see. So this headline that we saw today from JP Morgan sounds so altruistic. It sounds so great. Yes, you could buy these stocks and they could go up 80%. It's so good for you. Trust our advice. We have researchers, right? They're going to make you tons of money. 80% gains. We want that. Yet they're down themselves. They're losing money on this specific trade in big numbers. And as I mentioned, one of the things I did back in the day is I would look for upgrades and downgrades. So let's go here to markets. I'm at Yahoo Finance, and you used to be able to click upgrades and downgrades right from here, but they have removed that now. It's no longer there. So let me see if I can go stock market upgrades. Upgrades and downgrades. All right, so you click on that. MarketWatch has them. So one of the things I used to love to do, and I really love to do this, and I would encourage you guys to play with it every now and again if you have level 2, is you can see the analyst firm. And some of these are big players, some of them are not. So Bank of America, they're a pretty big one. Here is Morgan Stanley, who had a whole slew of them today. Look at all these. These are, maintained. So, okay, this is no big deal. What you want is an upgrade or a downgrade, and we'll sort by, how about downgrades, right? So you just kind of scroll through here, and Citigroup downgraded Albertsons today, right? They're basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to get people to sell shares, which in my mind automatically makes me think that Citigroup is a buyer of Albertsons. You have Morgan Stanley downgraded. Let's see what they upgraded. Because if anything, they're going to upgrade PRLD, right? Why are you not sorting? Let's go all the way down to the bottom then. Wow, there's just that much. Oh, so there was no upgrades today. Everything was a downgrade, which is appropriate at all-time highs. I guess that's good. I have seen many times where they're actually upgrading. Oh, here we go. Here's the upgrades. I'm sorry. Let's see. Morgan Stanley with PRLD. No. I've got Morgan Stanley upgrading EverSource. They're upgrading energy stocks right now. Great. My guess is they're probably trying to get you to sell it. Now, here's a fun one. Let's just look at those two ticker symbols, right? ES and what's the other one? XEL. Okay, just want to write those two down. And we will now go look at ES and XEL because they upgraded. Morgan Stanley basically telling the world, buy it. You need to go buy these stocks, and you need to do it as soon as possible. So let me bring up the chart here. Oh, yeah, too many browsers. There we go. Why are you not showing me my trading platform? Okay, so let's go to ES, right? Surprisingly, EverSource is not at all-time highs, but honestly, if someone upgraded this and gave you a strong buy recommendation, I'd call them an idiot because it's doing nothing but going sideways, right? There's really no reason you should buy this thing right now. And then what about XEL? Oh, not bad. Normally what happens is when these things are at all-time highs, that's when they issue their upgrades, and they're trying to get you to buy it so they can unload their shares. One last little push for their portfolios. So I used to watch this every day. When I came into the trading floor back in Irvine, California in the late 90s, I would pull up a list of upgrades and downgrades. And let's say Morgan Stanley upgraded Excel Energy, right? So I'd bring up the ticker symbol. And since I had level 2, I could see all the buyers and sellers lining up. And since he upgraded it, I would always see them with their identity sitting on the inside ask, which is where the sellers are, just selling all day long. And from that point on, I realized this is an absolutely crooked game. You should never take anything that Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, any big institution says at face value. Always dig deep. So Morris, I love that you sent this question, and thank you. When you see headlines such as these, how do you trade them? You don't. What should I know? What should a new trader like me know? You need to know that this is a ploy. It is an absolute tactic to get you to buy or sell something. Now, again, when you see articles that talk about a specific company, that doesn't mean that that company is bad or good. We have to do our own research, right? You have to do your own due diligence and analyze things because the only one that should be responsible for making a losing trade is you. If you bought Joby or PRLD thinking, hey, this is going to go up 80% and it continues to decline, who are you going to blame? You can blame JP Morgan because you bought into it? It's your fault if you bought that one. And I'm not pointing anybody out in particular here, just saying in general, this happens every single day. You can go through Yahoo Finance or Bloomberg or whatever. Every day, this is what's done in the marketplace. They pay to be advertisers. They pay to have their articles show up near the top on Yahoo Finance. And therefore, the retail investor sees and goes, 80% gain. I'm going to buy some of that stuff. Anyway, enough of a rant for me. Yeah, I'll go over some of these. Now, let's see. Nova, huh? Nova for Chowski. Let's go look at Nova. N-O-V-A. Nova. That's a horrible ticker symbol. Of course, if everybody knows in Spanish, Nova basically means it doesn't go. That's kind of a wrong one to have. They named a car, was it Chevy Nova? Yeah, Chevy Nova was the one back in the day. Again, we have something that's been on a great trend for the past 2 weeks, right? Real aggressive, but before that, it spent pretty much a few months just floundering sideways and not doing anything really exciting. Now, the only thing I really like about this Sonova Energy is I'm kind of cutting tails here, but you notice that the real body back on, let's call it July 7th, it opened up at this right at this line, and it also closed right at this line on April 26th. So it's been in multiple touches there. And right now, we just breached across it again. If you get a close above that horizontal blue line, which is $41, I think you're probably going to see more upside potential here. It hasn't made new lows in a while. It's still building strength. It looks like it's chopping sideways, but it's building strength. So 71 Nova. Well, if Nova gets a 71, that'd be great. But it's at 41 right now, Chris. For those who know, Chris is a mechanic and probably owns a 71 Nova. Right now it's at 41. If you look at target-wise, 48 becomes a big one. You do have some little potential issues at around $43, $44. But Chowsky, I'm okay with that one, but I think you just have to wait for confirmation that it's going to break 41 and a close above 41. All right, let's see. If they have a losing position, they sell their losses to a municipal pension fund. Happens all the time. Yep. Right, they're not going to take a loss on it, but right now they're just trying to save face. So we're going back to the initial question from Morgan Stanley, or from Morris about Morgan Stanley, where they were utilizing the news and the media to get the retail population to perform a certain action. And, you look at, I think the unsung heroes for all these publicly traded companies are the finance departments, the accountants, because the accountants can make money go anywhere. And I remember there's an old joke like this accountant goes into for a job interview and he's talking to the CEO and the CEO says, all right, I've got a question here for you. If I take my current year's liabilities and detract our operation costs and all the payroll and all the manufacturing pieces and what number do I come up with? And the accountant looks at the CEO and says, what number would you like it to say? Right? These guys know how to move numbers and move money around, and at all costs, Morgan Stanley's going to do whatever they can to not lose money, unless losing money would be part of their strategy. I know it sounds weird, but sometimes losing money can be a strategy to offset other gains in different areas and take advantage of little wash sale rule type things. So, they don't lose. They'll pass it on to your pension funds and municipal pension funds. And I know Jerry's got one. I'm sorry, Jerry, but the odds are against you. A lot of these pension funds are in trouble and may not be in the right things. All right, how are you doing on time? 38. Okay, let's do one more here. Phil sent this question in. Phil says, I was looking at FinViz in the insider section and noticed Mr. Zuckerberg has sold shares of Facebook and now has 0 shares. Is this right? What am I missing? No. Zuckerberg does not have 0 shares. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he has several hundred million shares left of Facebook. But there's a couple different things that you can do to find that information out. So let's go back to the section that we brought up the other day, which was FinViz. And again, FinViz is a great resource for all of you. Let me have a sip of water. Okay. But let's go out to FinViz and I'll bring up their homepage, right? So here's FinViz. Everything looks fine. We'll continue without disabling the ad blocker. So I'm just going to type in Facebook, and you can type in for any company that you want, right? Now, I'm going to scroll down, and it'll show you all the insider sales. So when you look at this, you're looking at Zuckerberg. Basically do you guys want to talk about a great week? Basically every day, I know this is going to sound really insane. Every day, Zuckerberg sells 52,700 shares. You guys can see it. 52.7, 52.7. This is October 12th. 52.7, October 13th. 52.7, October 14th. 52.9, October 15th. 52.7. So he's making $17 million a day. Yeah, minimum wage. Yeah, a lot of people aren't making anywhere near that. But anyway, this is crazy. You can look at it's very consistent. So he's basically automated everything. This is basically every day he's selling 77,000 shares. Drip, drip, drip. Well, you see 77.3. He's recently lightened up. But the answer was, it shows here 0. Does he have 0 shares? How many of you think, without looking, how many shares of Facebook do you think Zuckerberg still has? Type it in chat how many you think he still has. Right? My guess is about probably 400 million, maybe 300 million. He's got a lot, right? That's what makes him this big billionaire. So one thing also, Phil and others, is when you see something like this, don't take it at face value, right? Don't look at this number and go, oh, he's got 0. Always trust, but verify. So how do you verify exactly what Zuckerberg has? Well, you notice over here it says SEC Form 4. John, I don't think there's anybody alive who could snort $17 million worth of cocaine a day. If you did, I want to see that movie, because that would be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas times 10, right? Under it says Section Form 4 on the right-hand side. You see it's blue. These are all filings officially that they've made. So if you click on these and you scroll down here, it'll tell you how many he has, the total. So right now he has 345 million shares of common stock. Now, it's not held by Zuckerberg. Yeah, Big Eb, it's a shirtload. He's got so much money. It's held by CZI Holdings. So my guess is it's the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. He started a separate company to manage his money, to kind of create a layer of separation. Why is this important? Because if Zuckerberg gets sued or some lawsuit happens, which may happen because of how he was perjured himself under oath about knowing that Facebook is harmful, this is a separate company. It's a separate entity. Not that it's unattackable, but it's a separate LLC company that's managing all of his shares, right? That's what he does. He also has 4.4 million shares sitting in the Mark Zuckerberg trustee of the Mark Zuckerberg Trust Dated. And also, he has 1.9 million sitting in the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative Foundation. So he basically gave some to his wife to put into her initiative. So that's how it's all sorted. But yeah, he's not out, man. He's got 345 million. And let's just really quickly do it here. Just for fun, I'm just going to see how this went. So let's go 345,585,657 divided by, what was he selling? He was selling 50,000. Let me go back here to see the insider sales. Go back. And if he were to sell, what he's selling? 52,700 shares per day, right? So we'll divide that by 52,007. This is how many days it would take him to sell all of his shares. 65,000 days. Well, let's just divide that by 365. And that's assuming that he could sell it every day. He can't. It's like 210,000 or 220,000 days the market's open a year. It would take him 179 years to sell it all. Wow. God, it just makes me feel miserable about my life when you look at somebody who in one day just sold off, more than my net worth. It's awesome. Anyway, thought I would share that with you, Phil. If that doesn't depress anybody right there, I don't know what does. 179 years if he sold every single day 52,700 shares. So literally this guy can't even sell it fast enough. But, if he was to sell 1 million shares a day, then it'd be a full year, right? 365. Legal maneuvers, loopholes. If I was Dr. Evil, one day I would nuke Facebook from orbit. Well, look, Facebook isn't the only evil company out there, folks. Just saying, there's a lot of them. There are a lot of evil company. I wonder where Zuckerberg is moving the funds to. Doge, Bitcoin, Apple. Good question. It's a good question where he moves that money. What do you do with it? It's always something we could hypothesize about it. I think actually one of my favorite TraderMerlin shows I've ever done was what would I do if I won the lottery. Like that to me was very well planned out from I need to live off that money for the rest of my life. How do I generate income streams? And obviously Zuckerberg at his level, that's the proverbial FU money, right? That's the who cares? Nothing can happen to me. I'm untouchable kind of money. But what do you do? If I was somebody like Bezos or Musk or Zuckerberg, I'd be probably doing what they're doing as well. Let's go do something no one's ever done. Let's do crazy, unthinkable things. Why? Because I got the money. Our government's not going to do it, right? Yeah, I would park some in Bitcoin, or I would create my own and just have some fun with it, right? Yeah, too many options. Let's see. I think you want to look at I think you may have typed that one in wrong, Chowsky. You want to look at Golden Ocean. It's okay. Golden Ocean. Here's I thought you meant to type in Google, but you kind of messed up on Google. But there you go. Here is Golden Ocean. This is for Chowsky. Technically, it looks okay. Even though it hasn't shown any strength over the past month or so, it's still traversing sideways. I think your line in the sand is about 9.25. So if it gets below 9.25, get out. But it's not showing me anything that is screaming that it wants more upside potential. It just feels like it's going sideways for right now. So I would establish some ranges where you say I'm going to go long above this one or get out if it drops below a certain price. There you go. I'm happy with my life. Other people's progress doesn't change my happiness. Yeah, absolutely, Lori. I agree. And I think that's the way we have to live our lives is, there's some people I think should just be removed from society and disappear because they have a vindictive, evil, mean mindset and they're just going to try to take care of themselves in the big picture. But a vast majority of people are just trying to do right and, respect that decision. Let them be right. It's not called Libra anymore, Naum. So that was what Facebook was. Remember, I think I did this one on TraderMerlin or Power Trading Radio years ago. Libra was the coin that Facebook was trying to create with a whole group of different people. They've subsequently changed that name. It's called Diem now. DIEM is the name of the new Libra project, which they're now pushing more and more to try to get that public. But, right now, there's so many different stable coins that are beating them to the punch. And here's the funny thing. Facebook is trying to do it through regulators. If this isn't an example of why regulators suck, I don't know what is. Libra made an announcement. We want to create a stable coin, and you want to peg it to a basket of different securities. Okay? That's what we want to do. Regulators were like, no, nope. We're going to shoot you down. Can't do it. Don't want nothing to do with that. Yet, we've got Tether, we've got DAI, you've got USDC, you've got TrueUSD, you've got Paxos. These are all stable coins that are out there right now doing exactly the same thing that Facebook wanted to do. But because Facebook decided to try to do it the right way by going through regulators and making it legit, they got shot down. Just like Coinbase is saying, hey, we want to make a lending program, just like Celsius, just like Voyager, just like Crypto.com. And what happens? The SEC threatened to sue them. So it's almost like just do it and apologize for it later. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that one. What else we got? What's so evil about a company that capitalizes on how stupid people can be? Yep, good on them. Yeah, and I think that this is where you have things like the FTC, and again, I have no love for the FTC after what they did to OTA, and in my opinion, completely overstepped their boundaries, even outside of the legal threshold of what their doctrine of what they can do, especially if you look at the Supreme Court basically ruled that the FTC has been guilty of violating that and overstepping their boundaries and reined them in a little bit, but that's what the FTC is there designed to do, in theory, to protect investors, and there's deceptive things being put out there all the time. Headlines like that one that Morgan Stanley put out, to me, that's clickbait. That's the ultimate manipulation, but it is what it is. Let's see, what else do I have? I have an overnight short on NEO. Bought it 40.62. Am I trading against the trend? I haven't looked at NEO in quite some time. You are trading against the trend. Let me show you guys that screen. Now, while I say you're trading against the trend now, it's not like it's a bad thing. I like the 40.62 mark because I'm looking at this shooting star that formed on the 7th of September. So, if you're going to do a supply, you could argue that this is an area of supply, and we'll just map that out. I like that area. You're back up into it right now, and it's in a downtrend starting since July, right? It's just a retracement in the downtrend. I would just be careful if it breaks above 42. I think that downtrend is now going to reverse, and you'll probably see this thing move to the upside. So, hoping it'll trend down to 36. It could very easily. You can look through here. Let's see if I throw moving averages on here. Probably the 20 would be good. It just went above the 20 period. Oops. Here is your 20 period moving average. So it just went above it, but it's been hugging that one quite a bit. We can go to maybe a bigger time frame, like a 50. Right? You're still just popped above that one as well, but it is drifting down. So, the trend is in theory still on your side, but if it breaks above that 42 mark, for me, that's a bad one. Oh, I agree, Lori. It's someday, I hope that the actual story about how this happened to OTA comes to light. And then, as many of you know, there is an individual who shall not be named. He's the Voldemort of the financial world, in my opinion. He's an absolute scumbag. Maybe it'll be brought to light what that individual actually did to facilitate the FTC issues. And I'm hoping one day that comes to light and people realize the truth behind that specific individual and their chosen actions to not only ruin people's lives, but also the students' education experience was shattered because of that individual, in my opinion. And I hope karma comes and just tears that guy apart. It's deserved at some point, and the more people know about it, the better. But you guys have to do your own research. So, all right, I think that's gonna do it for me for today. Let me go and show you what's happening for tomorrow. Here's what we've got. Really nothing that's huge for the U.S. I mean, obviously we have crude oil inventories coming out tomorrow, and we had a pretty big surplus last week's reading at 6.1 million barrels. They're expecting that to drop significantly to 2.1 million barrels. We'll have to wait and see how that comes out. That's at 7:30 in the morning, mañana. Other than that, it's really Canada, right? You have a whole bunch of Canadian data. You have CPI numbers coming out, which of course is inflationary, and that could impact the Canadian dollar. And for those who have not been following, the Canadian dollar has been looking absolutely awesome. I mean, here's the Canadian dollar, guys. It is really good looking right now. So you do have a shooting star on the daily on the CAD USD. But boy, what a great run over the past couple of weeks here on Canadian dollars. So we'll see what the inflation numbers do. Yep, pretty much, Jerry. Yep. I like the name there. And then earnings for tomorrow. I'm going to show you one more here, and that's going to be TSLA. Tesla reports earnings tomorrow, and they have had a gangbuster run over the past couple of months. There's your, it's basically challenging all-time highs yet again. All-time high that you can see here, let me bring this line up since I don't know what that one represents, is roughly 901. It's currently trading at 865. This could be a very interesting trade for tomorrow because, as you can see here, they are reporting earnings tomorrow after market close. So, my guess is the typical thing that will happen with Tesla is it will probably have some kind of blowout earnings number. It'll jump up, it'll break through the all-time high, and then we'll see. My guess is it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, and we'll see maybe on your Thursday, Friday session a bigger slide in Tesla, but that's just speculation. Let's see. What else do I have? Verizon, IBM, Lam Research, Kinder Morgan, Abbott Labs, and my dyslexia kicking in. The CSX Corporation reporting earnings tomorrow. You can see some of those are before market, some of those are after market, etc. But that's your earnings calendar and your economic calendar. All right, everybody. I think that, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Again, with those headlines, be careful following anybody out there. And again, I guess I sound hypocritical because I'm talking negative about following influencers. I'm kind of in that boat. I mean, in theory, I am somewhat of an influencer, although I don't like to be. I like to think I'm more one that's just spreading knowledge and information. But, everything I say, you should trust but verify and make sure that, we talked about DRI the other day, right? DRI. So, if you were to look at DRI and say, I'm going to take that trade, trust but verify. Does the analysis make sense to you? If it doesn't, then don't take the trade. Don't listen to anything unless you are comfortable with it. Now, just as a follow-up, you guys remember I said if it opens below this 149.06, if it opens below that and rallies above it, buy DRI. Look what it did today. Opened above it and did nothing but sell off all day. So no trade for me. Done. Just move on and follow the next trade that comes my way. No sweat. All right. Guys, if you enjoyed today's show, thumbs up. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. If you have comments or questions, you want me to talk about something on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday show, since I'm solo, you can email me, TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Until then, happy trading, everybody. I will see you mañana. Take care.